All right. In January, we lost, in my opinion, the greatest to ever do it. Yeah, I'll be fair. Tied for the greatest to ever do it, to ever step foot on a basketball court. The late, great Kobe Bryant. It's one of those things, no matter where you were, you'll remember where, no matter how old you get, you'll remember where you were when you got the news. It was during the Pro Bowl, and it altered the Super Bowl and All-Star games and the way the NBA was played. Ashley, I think you may have just changed your profile picture. Everybody who knows you and listens to A&B Sports on Apple and Spotify, they know that you love some Dwayne Wade. But before there was Wade for you, your favorite basketball player was Kobe. And everybody, when you throw your trash away, even the Undertaker do it. You gotta say, Kobe.
Kobe.
How have you been able to cope through this?
I haven't. I'm gonna be honest with you. Every award show, every time there's something going on to pay homage to, he and Gigi, I turn. This is just me being honest. People don't process things the same. Mm-hmm. And I, for some reason, just have not processed it the way that I thought that I would. I turn the channel. I don't want to have to cry. I mean, I cried a week straight after Kobe died. And I know you touched on, you remember where you were. I was at my part-time job, and I had just gotten off the phone with one of the biggest Kobe fans I know. I have like 4 of like really close people that are like the biggest Kobe fans I know. I had just got off the phone with him. He was going to an event, and he called back 30 minutes later. And I'm like, I know the event isn't over already. And, he was just like, Kobe died. And my reaction, I'm sure, which was everybody's reaction, was, Kobe who? And he's like, Kobe Bryant. I'm like, no way. And he's like, yeah, it's like, it's articles about it. And I'm like, it's hoax articles out here. Don't. And of course, because of, me being in the profession that I'm in, I follow so many different media outlets and so many of you guys, media folks. And I constantly just kept seeing the same thing. And I'm like, this is no way that this is true. And, just seeing so much of the same thing from reliable sources. And I immediately called my mom, and I had to step in the back. I immediately called my mom, and I just cried. I cried on my way home. I cried all week at my full-time job, and my coworker, he heard me crying like the whole week, and the whole week he's like, oh my God, Ashley, are you okay? It was really hard. I grew up on Kobe. Like you said, Brian, he's the first NBA player that I've ever known. I didn't grow up watching Michael, heard of Michael, but the first NBA player I laid my eyes on was number 8 with that Ush Bush, Kobe Bryant.
I love that.
Hey, we ain't gonna come for the bush.
Look, that bush put up numbers.
The bushes right now.
Because Froby, man.
That's the Kobe. You gotta call that joint the Kobe.
At 21 was the NBA champion.
Ush Bush, and just seeing my mom watch, and he is literally the reason I fell in love with the game. Literally the reason. So
before I go around,
a piece of you grow up with him. Most of us grew up just with this man around, and it was just really devastating.
I gotta say this. I did generally breaking through glass ceilings. Like I said, it's me interviewing people, just talking about their journey. Everybody has been on this episode. Everybody here has been on an episode, ironically, the first 5. So if you haven't, well, I guess it's not irony, but if you haven't checked them out, make sure so you can listen to their stories. But I thought about it. I said, man, maybe I need to talk about it. Because, and Ashley said, I think you should do this. This will help you. And, her being a good sister that she is, it did. I was in New Orleans for work. Literally the night before, he had LeBron had passed him, and I was with my manager, and I started to tell her, "Oh, LeBron just passed Kobe." But we was at a wrestling event. Shout out to my friend Amber Rodriguez watching her wrestle, and I was like, "Well, we already at a wrestling event. She don't care about sports." Even though we had just went to the Pelicans game that Friday night and saw Zion, and I was like, man, all right, LeBron passed Kobe. That's cool. So then we just got finished filming a doctor. And I looked at my phone and I said, no fucking way, 3 times. And she looked at me and she was like, what's wrong? And I told her exactly what happened. And I had to edit a video right away. And my first thought, excuse me, that happens every show. I kid you
Bless
not.
you.
Bless you.
My first thought was Mamba mentality. Kobe would say, get that done now. Like,
Verbatim.
Bless you.
Bless you.
thank you. Upon finding out of his death, that was like my thought. Like, I had work to do, but I'm like just trying to process this. And man, you know, we all chatted. Everybody's hoping it's, you know, fake news, a hoax. We're in the great group that Renee created, Journalists on the Rise. Everybody's just spewing so much information. And after I ate, and I had some shrimp and grits, and you know, Kelsey knows about the New Orleans shrimp and grits.
Look, talk about it.
I wish I had some right now.
Right. And I felt like I could be, you know, you're going into a restaurant. What do you see? ESPN all over the screen. CNN. And man, when I got back to my room, and I remember wanting to hear, I remember thinking like, why hasn't my wife text me yet? She probably don't have her phone. In my head, I'm like, nobody has texted me and checked on me. And finally, I remember she said, are you okay? No. You know, and after I got off the phone, because I wanted to just talk to my kids and my wife, just to like hear them. And after I got off the phone, and the Royal Rumble was that night, Edge came back. Edge is like one of my favorites, you know? And after that, like, I just cried like a baby and in my hotel room, in my bed. And I remember my manager, shout out to Marin, she was like, when we was walking back, she said, all right, we'll get something to eat, then we'll probably go to each our rooms and shed tears. And yeah, I remember, I think it was some award show on that night. I'm not into like music as much. I keep up with Renee's show. That keeps me updated. But I think was it the Grammys or something?
I almost want to say
In January?
Yeah.
Yeah, it might have been the Grammys.
It's probably the Grammys, yeah.
Yeah, and I didn't watch it, you know, but I remember there was talks about the, like, you know, instant dedication. And I remember when Kyrie Irving didn't play, and I was like, I understand, you know. It hurt. And I looked at it, I was like, man, I really don't believe it. And I don't want to believe it, you know. And for me, obviously, you know, I got 3 of the 4 magazines, so I'm looking literally at the birth death date literally every day. But that shows you like he was my guy.
I guess I'll go next. I don't think I will ever forget where I was. You know, I think that's partly why, as we talk about the return of the NBA and how valuable life is and precious life is, I think that we do tend to look at, especially celebrities, like they're invincible. You know, like I think one of the first thoughts in my mind was, first of all, where's Vanessa and the kids? I cannot imagine what they're going through right now. Of course, at that time, we didn't even know Gianna was on the helicopter. And my thought was also, not Kobe. Like, there's just certain people you expect to see them, like how Bill Russell and certain retired players are still at games, gray and old. We were just starting to see Kobe, the dad, Kobe, the big WNBA advocate and supporter, him sidelines with Gianna. And then, as you touched on, the night before, LeBron James had just passed Kobe and broke his record here in Philly. And so, honestly, the night before, my phone was talking about LeBron James passing Kobe. And then there were rumors that Kobe was actually going to be in town. Kobe's from the area. He went to Lower Merion High School. So there were rumors he was going to be in town to watch the game because of all the connections between the Lakers, LeBron passing him, his Philly roots. So I was thinking, not only like, how is that possible? I thought Kobe was going to be in Philly the night before. You know, like, I'm just thinking, there's no way this is happening. We were just talking about him for like the entire day, talking about Kobe, LeBron, and if this is the passing of the torch, and if LeBron's, you know, all these different things, and then just like that, he's gone. And again, it's just, you just don't ever feel like you're going to see certain people. He was so young. He's had so much life left to live. His babies are so young. His kids, they deserve to have the opportunity to.
The baby just turned 1.
Just turned 1 year old. He just had another daughter. I mean, you just think about all these different things. And then what made it worse for me was, as you guys know, I coach soccer. So I was actually at a soccer tournament that day coaching. And the ages I coach are middle school age, 14, 15, actually some high school age as well. So then I started, because I always am I'm a very emotional person. I actually had to sit down. I froze. I could not believe it. I'm looking at my kids that I'm coaching, who are literally the same age as Gianna, thinking, this is one of them. This is one of them and their fathers, because at that time I had found out she was on the helicopter with her teammates going to a tournament, going to play basketball just like any other day. They woke up, they went to church, they had breakfast, they left, they go play basketball, they never come home. And I'm just thinking in my mind, like, that could be any one of us at any given moment. And it's just terrifying to think about. It still breaks my heart to think about that. You just never know when your last time seeing someone's going to be. And it's just awful. It's heart-wrenching. I still can't process it. I still, like Ashley said, I don't watch any of anything they do when they're honoring Kobe and Gianna and the victims. And it's not, no, I just can't handle it. I physically cannot handle it. And to see the Bryant family be so strong, and Vanessa speaking up and his, I cannot handle it. But it's just a reminder that we're not invincible, and that we have to make sure that we're taking care of ourselves. Even like we talked about earlier, knowing the weather that day, knowing that they should not have been flying, all these different things that are coming out. It just makes it harder to wrap your head around, because you want to say, this should not have happened. This could have been prevented. Shoulda, coulda, woulda. It doesn't matter, because Kobe's no longer here. So it's just, I will never forget June 26th. I will never forget being at that soccer tournament, talking to my soccer players, like, did you hear what happened? And talking to them about it. And they're just kids. They don't really understand death like we do at this age. And it's just something nobody should ever have to deal with. And I hope moving forward, we don't have to go through this again.
Yeah, I'll just add. So it's crazy. I had just got back from LA a couple days, and it was my first time in LA a couple days before Kobe had passed away. And I mean, everybody wants to go to LA, right? But LA was always so attractive to me because the Lakers and, of course, Kobe Bryant. And when I went to LA, there was Kobe stuff everywhere. Mind you, again, this is my first time there. And of course, I went on a couple shows. We talked about Kobe, all the great stuff he was doing. I mean, Kobe was a girl dad. And I think it's fresh for me still, because I think, we just had Father's Day. Kobe is the ultimate embodiment of a girl dad. I have a dad. He has just 2 girls. And then Renee touched on it. He was this dad that was involved in his daughter's lives. He was an avid, he coached, he was at WNBA games. He was so involved. He was a true role model for Black fathers. He was so much more than just basketball. Kobe's this man that was fluent in multiple languages and just doing so much good in the community. And I think about that moment when I heard he had passed. I still remember, like, there was no way, like, TMZ had to get it wrong. They just got it wrong, because as you touched on, no, Kobe, he was too young, and he was just there yesterday. Like, how in the world was he taken from us? And it hurts. And mind you, I'm not an emotional person. Like most people that know me, and in all my pictures, I'm usually smiling. Like, I usually just have one emotion because things don't get to me. I'm just that way. Like, I have a hard shell, so it's hard to. But that got to me, and I found myself emotional. Of course, that's why turtles have hard shells. But it's just, it's crazy, because I found myself that whole week just kind of being like in this depressed limbo mood. And, we talk about mental health now, and I just felt sick. I was looking back at old pictures. Mind you, when I was younger, I used to rock my Kobe jersey dress. All right, and jersey dresses will hopefully come back in style.
Oh, yes.
But I have my Kobe Bryant jersey dress. I felt the most confident in it. Brian talked about it earlier. Whenever I needed inspiration, or when I played basketball, it was that Kobe, that Mamba mentality I had to have. Even through school, that's what got me through school. I wanted to be the greatest. I wanted to be like Kobe. If it wasn't Kobe, I was listening to Ray Lewis speeches. It was one of the two, that just kind of helped me get through and have that motivation. And to have somebody that was just there, that we all looked up to, be taken from us. I think, like Renee said, we thought this guy was invincible. You're not supposed to die till you're old, and if people die when they're younger, we look at so many other factors, but this was somebody that we thought we would see get inducted in person into the Hall of Fame. This is somebody that we thought we'd see grow old. His daughters grow old with us.
Go, man.
His daughter, playing the WNBA. We had so many dreams. And then, like Renee said, I thought about his wife. They've been together since they were so young. To have your best friend taken from you all of a sudden, and your baby girl, like, I just couldn't imagine. And then I just thought back to, and also the other families that were in that plane.
Yeah.
And, I just thought about just so many different things, and how you need so much strength, one, to get through this. But I think what was so touching is that other than Michael Jackson, I had not seen anybody that had touched so many people. It brought me closer to people I didn't even know. And I remember, I think the week after that, I went to the Super Bowl. every single interview that I did on Radio Row, we touched on Kobe. I found myself resonating with other journalists. It was the most somber event I've ever covered with fellow journalists. And it wasn't the same. Yes, we were in Miami, but there was a forecast, there was a shadow over us because we were just thinking like, Kobe's gone. This is the biggest game in America, but even the players every single player talked about Kobe. He touched every single player in that Super Bowl game. He touched every single reporter in that room, every single fan. I mean, you go to Super Bowl, of course you have the teams playing, but there was also a lot of Kobe jerseys down in Miami because, I mean, what? Kobe was taken from us. We weren't ready. And it's sad that we think that way, right? We think we know our expiration date, but I think it reminded us too that life is short. You don't know when it's going to be your last day. You don't know when your last moment's going to be. But I think I looked back after, and it's taken me time. I think I was very emotional, but I look back after and I think about what Kobe accomplished in his young life and how he did so much, just so much. And I hope that at least can be inspiration for us all to just live every day like it's your last and give back, touch somebody else, build your legacy, believe in yourself. But it's just heartbreaking. And I think all of us will always remember what we were doing at that exact moment, just because it was a moment in time we'll never forget, when someone that we idolized, someone that we adored, someone that we loved, someone that we always championed was taken from us just too soon. And so it's still rough, like Renee and Ashley touched on. I don't like being remembered. I don't take death well in the first place, but yet alone somebody that, I grew up watching and introduced me and brought me to a love to the game. Bryant, I thought back to that last game that we covered.
That was the
and I
first
was
time
like,
we
man,
met.
I wish I would have done so much more at that game, like it was such a special moment. But, in my mind, all right, I'm going to have other chances to interview Kobe and talk with Kobe. That was my mindset. But unfortunately, what happened. And, you just think about those moments that you wished you would have done more. And I say all this to say, tell your loved ones you love them. Never uncherish somebody. Always cherish them, because, anything can happen at any time. And, I hope he's looking down at us, just, knowing we'll never forget his legacy.
He probably telling us,
I love
if
y'all.
y'all don't man up.
Real quick before you go, Brandon, like I was thinking, Brian, you had said earlier how I had talked you into your show. And, it's so crazy that I talked him into doing his show because, again, he's one of the biggest Kobe fans I know. And I made my graphics and I was so, I'm like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this for Kobe. Kobe would say, girl, push through. And I just couldn't do it. It was just way too much. I mean, I pushed through the next week, but that week. So I'm glad one of us did it, Brian, because it was tough.
Mm-hmm. You're the
January
youngest.
26th, 2020.
Mm-hmm.
Where was I at? I was here at home, and me and my best friend, I made plans to link up later on that day. So I might have been working on something from school, and then I think it was TMZ that was one of the first ones to put it out there, and I was like, there ain't no way I'm gonna believe this, because recently they had gotten something else wrong too. So I was like, ain't no way I'm believing TMZ right now. Like, they on pause for a second. Then I saw somebody else put it out, and then another person put it out, and I was like, you know what, ESPN, I need y'all to say something, because I'm not believing any of these people until y'all put it out. I'm not believing anybody. And then when they put it out, everything froze.
Yeah.
Everything froze. Like, I couldn't even finish what I was doing at the time. I was in denial. I was really in denial. Like, even when ESPN was talking about it, I was still in denial. Like, ain't no way, not Kobe. Like, this the dude we were supposed to see going to the Hall of Fame. Like, come on now. And you can't help but think about the new chapter of his life that he was stepping into, or began to step into, because for the longest time, everybody thought that, Kobe was going to die on the basketball court. That was going to be his grave, the basketball court with the ball in his hand. And for it to happen, at a moment in time where I think everybody was appreciating not only his greatness, but they were also appreciating LeBron for kind of emulating what Kobe was. But in all honesty, can't nobody even match Kobe on the court. On their best days, they can't touch Kobe. But I think everybody really took the time to pause and to just be thankful that they were even able to see Kobe witness his greatness, witness the growth that he had been through. We remember him for his Mamba mentality and for him always being the model of what a competitor should be. You know, that reach down in your chest and tear out your heart and then eat it in front of you type of mentality when it comes to competitors. And like Brian alluded to, like when he had to get some work done, he immediately thought, what would Kobe do? You know, what would Kobe do? Because he had that type of impact on you, no matter if you didn't know him or even had a chance to be in earshot of him. Like Kobe impacted you in some way, shape, or form. I remember, and this was probably, I want to say April, and I was having one of my late homework nights, and I was kind of feeling a little unencouraged, so to speak. And what I do, I went to YouTube and looked up Kobe motivational speeches because I needed a boost. I needed something to get me going. And I watched a few of them and I was like, yo, I need to get back on it. So I got back on it and I finished and graduated. So in that way, Kobe affected me in that way. So now in my Twitter bio, I have Bowie State alum and sports anchor / reporter in the making with a Mamba mentality. I'll probably never take that down, just letting everybody know that it's going to stay there until I'm dead. And I did have my number 8 Kobe jersey. Don't know where that thing is, though.
I got mine. I need to get number 24.
I know I need to get a new NBA jersey. I really need to. But I think that, you know, we will always carry the Mamba mentality with us no matter what our niche is in life. And we will always remember Kobe for who he was on the court, but also for the father and the husband and the friend that he was off the court as well. And I'm gonna miss him, definitely. Still missing him. But I think that, you know, his passing kind of brought America together. And I think we really need to go back to that time, especially right now, so that, you know, we can all get through this pandemic.
I wonder what Kobe would say about the Rona and the NBA coming back. All right, closing things out, we discuss the black quarterbacks in the NFL. Great discussion. Get ready for it. Make sure you're subscribed to the show. Share it with your friends. Engage with us on social media at Brian H. Waters. And remember, this podcast is brought to you by B. Waters Productions, where it's produced and edited by. And the music is brought to you by Hypno Beats.